take Janna way early this time. At this point, they're
fast.
leaving Janna potentially for elimination later on, but Fast Zed, I feel like Quantic's going to have an answer for it.
They banned Shen last time, and its first pick here. It looks like Balls may want to take that, and why would he not? That's going to be just him picking up his top lane, if anything.
I mean, Balls can play anything. He's actually a guy who, prior to Season 3, had played on a competitive team in all 5 positions. So now that he's in the top lane, for Quantic, it's just like, you know what? I'm going to play anything I want. And Shen is actually like the historically standard top laner, so he's not really showing off his versatility here as much as just picking a standard guy.
All right, so Zach comes back in for Meteos. They get that jungle pressure as well, hopping over the walls from Zach. And Newbert locks in the Ezreal and Lulu for themselves. So they go for the safe poke once again on the bottom lane.
Yeah, and potentially they're taking the Ezreal away from Sneaky Castro.
That too.
You got to give Sneaky Castro a bit more credit than that, though, because he can play most, if not all, of the AD carries. They're probably going to lock it in right now because they can pick their AD carrying support fairly safely, knowing what their lane matchups would probably be, since Zed is maybe top lane,
right?
Or they're going to be going up against the AD carrying the support. It gives them the option to go either Janna or Sona, but they're just going to do something that is completely different.
More poke, which still says, you know, Sona's going to be a great support coming in for elimination if he wants to choose it again.
But I'm just looking at this team right here, because if Jace... There's something missing in this team comp right now. It's either a support or an AD carry or something. Because that puts you as a jungle Zac with a Shen. If we're saying top lane Shen and mid lane Kha'Zix, that means that could be an AD carry Jace, then a support. But you don't see many AD carry Jaces at all. You see him like top lane or mid lane as like a nuke caster, but not as a bottom lane dude. It's neat.
This is it. It's not really throwing off Team Astral Poke too much. They are hovering on their pokes, their picks. However, and it looks like they go for more poke because they're Team Astral Poke.
I like the Hecarim pick. Yeah. It's something that has a whole bunch of steam over in the Tencent Pro League, which is the Chinese league, and it's real strong. See, this is what I'm talking about, man. This, like, support Jace?
Shen.
Support Jace, if I had to guess a support, they're screwing with this.
Which? Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, there we go. That's what you're supposed to do. Okay, that's an
The crystal ball
Jace.
was a little foggy,
yeah.
but it... Yep, there you go. Sound effects. All right, so let's see. The Sona pickup coming in, that leaves them the, you know, the disengage if anything goes wrong, or just the flash initiation if they want to go hard.
And it's going to give them even essentially more movement control, as long as Sneaky Castro doesn't lose the lane. And I feel like he's going to be able to hold his own because he was awesome on Ezreal last time. Again, for Quantic, it's actually a fairly similar composition. It's actually about the same amount of poke they had as before, but probably a bit more hard engage if they want it. You look at Team Astral Poke, though, and it is kind of a whole new ball game for them. They got the Lux in the mid lane, probably Zed up top because that's what Anxiety Law is playing. They have one of those balance teams where they have the 2 people going in, the back line of Ezreal and Lulu, and then Lux to support everything.
It's going to be an awesome matchup. Some pretty cool picks coming in. We see the AD Jace for Sneaky Castro, and really, it was, I think he kind of chose it for himself. There were so many more AD carries open. They just took Ezreal on Team Astral Poke this time. So we'll have to see how that lane goes, or if they'll decide to swap it out, because you can really get a lot of pressure out of that lane in the first place, right? You got Aura from Sona, and you got Gate from Jace, so you're everywhere you want to be.
And I mean, the last time I saw the AD carry Jace was, it's probably happened before this, but the last time I saw it was Tales of the Lane in November of 2012 in Paris, and it was Curse EU back at the time playing it. So, like, this was forever ago as far as League of Legends time is concerned. So I'm pretty excited to see it broken out again.
League of Legends time is longer than real time?
It totally is.
Oh, okay.
I've been casting for like 14 years at this point.
Leagueception.
In League time.
All right, so here we go into the 15th year for you, Jat. Second game of the summer promotion tournament. Team Astral Poke versus Quantic Gaming. Quantic up game 1, Rivington the third and Jat to bring you this matchup. And we are going to get it underway. This time Astral Poke is on the blue side. They were one to switch up the lanes last game. We'll see if they do it again. And
I wonder if they're going to be a little bit more aggressive this game, because last game Team Astral Poke pretty much just kept 5 people grouped up in their own jungle, went over to their other side of their own jungle, pink warded, and just like, I hope they didn't do anything sneaky, but never really tried to take advantages for themselves. And they're actually doing the same thing this game.
They are doing something sneaky in the top lane. You can see as we rotate through, Sneaky Castro and Remstar is there on your screen. Anxiety and Lemon Nation get to know the faces. They may be sticking around. Quantic looking to pressure onto the blue. They don't even really go for the minute 40. They go for the early ward.
So they're just getting vision of the blue buff. This is actually pretty much the same thing we saw last game, but mirrored. Aside from Team Astral Poke getting a little bit aggro here, they're all walking through a ward, which is actually very dangerous for them. They get the ward inside the blue buff and just get out of there because they're a little bit scared of Quantic.
Oh, that would not have been too good of an engagement. They do have good gap closers, but they may not have the follow-up to complete it. So they back off for another safe early game here with a bit of aggression to start. But the wards will give that privy information as they begin the laning phase.
Both guys able to ward their blue buffs, so the junglers are not as potent, pretty much, because as soon as you know where either Meteos or Remstars is starting, you can put your lane action like that.
To use.
You know where they are.
Yeah. You just kind of force it down, get your wards in the correct spot. So everybody has that knowledge now. We see a little bit of aggression still. The two in the top lane, actually a third one is going to be there with them. High chooses to go up, but they back off. I don't know why. They just kind of being aggressive here, kind of feeling out what Astral Poke is doing in the beginning of the game.
Now we're deciding exactly where the lanes are going to go.
Yeah.
It does appear to be the standard lanes of having the 80 carries and supports in the lane where the double golems are accessible. So for Quantic, that means the top lane. For Team Astral Poke, that means the bottom lane. And we'll do the 2v1s with the ninjas going up against two people.
This mid lane, High versus Newbert. I am fearing for Newbert's life here in the level 2 Kha'Zix, so we'll have to see if he can get out of that. And it looks like Meteos will put pressure on this already. There's the level 2 Kha'Zix. I fear it so much, but you don't fear it as much when the flash is down, so it's okay again.
That's the Kha'Zix all-in red pot, but Remstar's going for his ward of blue. Has to pop his ghost.
Map pressure already for Quantic, 2 minutes and 50 seconds in.
Yeah, and Meteos moved his ass over there. I mean, he went from one blue to the other blue and actually met Remstars over there because Remstars started red buff. That was a very good team effort there to deny Remstars his blue buff.
All right, so coming in, already giving trouble to Team Astral Poke in the beginning. Newbert having some trouble in lane versus High after that first engage, but the summoners are down there, and Newbert still sits with Ignite, so the gank may be able to come in and finish him off on the other side.
Yeah, and High actually over-engaged himself in the mid lane off of that one because he started with all consumables, the red elixir and 3 health potions. He's actually already burned through all of those, whereas Newbert still has health potions, mana potions, and wards. So High had to burn his flash as well in that gank. He is potentially vulnerable if Remstars in the jungle hadn't have been shut down.
That's true. Remstars, you can see him trying to soak up experience in the top lane from that.
And I think it's actually kind of what he has to do in that situation. Hecarim's not a good babysitter, so it's not the best situation for him, but he really needs to make sure he gets experience from somewhere if he wants to be useful at all in this game on Hecarim.
Good pressure. Newbert really coming back grip from that all-in engage, and he knows he has the safety with the summoners down of High. Not getting any help from the mid lane, though, as it was going to be, like we said, Remstars trying to soak up experience from the side lanes, and that's really good. Team Astral Poke now in the bottom lane pressuring, so they don't have to get the help from him there.
And at this point, since Meteos has hit level 4, he's hoping that Balls can get a taunt, and then Meteos can jump on top of it afterwards, because Team Astral Poke is actually not shoving that much, instead trying to deny a little bit, whereas the other side of them is getting turret damage. So even though Meteos is just waiting there for some aggression, even if he doesn't get a gank opportunity, this is probably still good for Quantic.
Pushing through, Anxiety at 5 CS. We see Balls at 10 CS, so both doing okay in the factor of farming. They are energy champions, so they're not too worried about spamming their spells in this. And the 80 carry is full on the CS, but it's going to be Nidus Remain going down. The Ignite is there. A kill coming in. First blood for Meteos. It looks like Bobby may follow. The red buff is there. His Arcane Shift is down. They flash in, and he forces the flash as well. So that may be another focus coming in for Quantic.
So the combo we talked about, jumping over the wall and getting the kill, absolutely happened for Quantic in the bottom lane. Best of both worlds, because they didn't get their turret shoved down, they got the kill, and they're safely still pushing up in the top lane.
And look how much trouble they're giving Remstars. He wants to be in the bottom now because nobody's there, and Zed needs his help up top. Quantic is just putting so much pressure everywhere.
And a lot of times as a jungler, you can kind of sneak your way ahead in the game by just taking lane farm after a lane dies. But because Remstars was put behind in the first place, he's actually just somewhat catching up by taking that lane farm.
Newbert using defensive light binding there instead of going in on it. He did get some Lucent Singularity damage, but it's about 25% for the 100% that he took. There's good damage from the leap, and the red buff is on, and the attack coming in for the finish for High.
Bullseye. He just shot that void spike out and was able to finish it off. And the whole reason that got set up was because Remstars was in the bottom lane holding. So it gave High the confidence to all-in Newbert, know that he wouldn't be getting counter ganked, and then it also allowed Meteos to be like, I can dive a turret because I know there's no Hecarim here to counter gank me, and everything is working once again for Quantic in game 2.
So we're looking about another minute and 30 in Meteos' mind as he's calculating all the buffs around the map for those to come back up. So we'll see what the focus is there. Looks like the lanes are going to slow down for this next minute though, and that farm, the AD carry is going to swap back down to the bottom lane.
Trying to just match up straight away, and this is smart by Quantic because they didn't trade turrets, they just got a turret, and now they are no longer engaging in a 1v2 where their turret could potentially be pushed, and they're confident enough that Sneaky Castro can now be strong enough on Jace to beat up Bobby Hankill.
Really, these guys love putting their eggs in the basket of the tier the Goddess build, and they're just going for it every time, trying to get that Manamune out as fast as possible.
It's what worked for them last time. It's character-specific builds that work. Jace with the Manamune and Kha'Zix with Muramana. They're the same item, they just transform.
Yep.
Are very, very good items. And since Quantic is pulling so far ahead, they're getting away with these items no problem.
And there is just the punishment coming in for Bobby Hankill. You can see onto Bobby Hankill. You can see the potions being chugged. All that is sticking when those potions are gone. They're trying to get that sustain here from Lemon Nation. They go aggressive on this one. Can he change forms? Get the attack in, and he does to the skies. He dunks down Bobby. Going for Nidus or main now. It's just going to be in the bush. Not enough damage, and they're just going to easily be able to hit this one out. Measuring him for his casket. Puts him in. Nidus or main goes down.
And Lulu ran out of mana during those trades, which really hurt them near the end of that fight. Good trade by Sneaky Castro. I mean, people forget that Jace has 7 spells in his kit, so even though he had just hit level 6, it's like, oh, he doesn't have a true ultimate. Yeah, but he has 3 extra normal spells, so he can still out-trade you and burst you really hard. Bobby Hankill hadn't hit 6 hit on Ezreal, and it was a really good time for Quantic to all in there in the bottom lane.
And they keep going in strong. They know they just blew the flash on him earlier. For Meteos, they go right onto Remstars. High feels like he can take it, and they're diving turrets and pressuring Dragon at the same time.
As far as I can tell, Team Astral Poke has not recovered from the first game.
No.
This almost looks worse than what we just saw, which was a 20-minute victory for Quantic. In that game, it was like a 4,000 gold advantage that ballooned into a 13,000 gold advantage really quickly. But this one is a 4,500 gold advantage at 8 minutes. It is such a huge early lead, and Team Astral Poke has to find themselves quickly if they want a chance.
And we don't really have those super late game champions on these teams. You don't have the AD carry that's going to come up big for them in the end. You don't have that AP mid that's going to be absolutely carrying everyone.
No, and you can't even really worry about that in these types of games where you're losing the game so quickly. They just need to find a way to get themselves in the game. Like, if they were able to take it super late, I don't even know if Team Astral Poke would have it.
Right.
Sure, Hecarim scales really well, and Jace and Zed is able to assassinate amazingly, but you'd have the Kha'Zix jumping in with Zac, and they just kind of be hopping around after the poke had been coming down for Sneaky Castro all day.
It's like 100 damage to 300 damage on the attacks back and forth between these guys. You can see Sneaky Castro just pushing out Bobby on these attacks, and Lemon Nation is there with the power core damage. So the poke just too extreme for the bottom lane, obviously winning them that. But Bobby Hankill, 62 to 67 in CS versus Sneaky. As we see some aggression here in the top lane. Little Zed versus Shen action is a little ninja fight.
It was actually really well played by Balls, moving back between every attack because he didn't want to fight Anxiety Law in the creep wave, and he was able to just evenly trade him all the way back there.
Just crushing down the health bar, Bobby Hankill getting those charge shots down onto the turret as they pressure down here at 10 minutes. The 4,000 gold lead just is going to go up and up if they continue to put this pressure on.
And maybe Team Astral Poke wants to pull something around there because they wanted to counter gank, but they're so low already.
Oh, flashing into this one. Wild Growth goes down. You can see that Bobby Hankill read that before it was going down. He didn't tell Nidus, though.
I think they knew that they were just going to get dove. They were trying to set up a counter gank because Remstars was on the way, but they got hit by so much poke that they just died before they could even really get ganked.
So see the bottom lane getting pushed here. They still have balls in the top lane. Last time he was doing it on Shen. This time he split, or Kennen rather. Now he's split pushing on Shen, and he can get into the fight even faster, which is scarier for Team Astral Poke because still the 1v1s again are going in favor of Quantic if they happen.
And they're going to be and Team Astral Poke has to be very careful that they don't lose all 3 turrets again, because they haven't been able to take map control with all the turrets up. So as soon as their 3 outers die again, they essentially run out of options.
You can see just how comfortable High was in that engagement. Seeing Zed coming from the side, just use some Void Spikes. Lemon Nation walking out of this one. They have the wards. They know what's going to come in the situation, and they can just walk out of it each time. Astropoke needs to get some pink wards down or get an Oracle out to kind of just slow down the snowball.
The problem with that is Nidus Remain doesn't even have a Ruby Sight.
The money, yeah, again.
Or a Philosopher's Stone. It's just one of those. There's been such great denial that's came out from Quantic early on in these lanes, either with smart ganks or just strong laning. Once again, you can see, as if Meteos doesn't go in for a kill, all right, you can see Balls is ahead of Anxiety Law. That's actually been a heads-up matchup almost this entire time. High, 108 to 74, and then Sneaky Castro against Bobby Hankill on an unconventional AD carry Jace versus a very conventional starting of a Blue Ezreal is still up in minion kills, but most importantly in kills and assists, and 1,000 gold.
We'll see what they can produce for this laning phase. It wouldn't be more of an advantage for them to push it out of the laning phase, which is kind of still there for them. They're kind of wanting to go back to it here.
You would want to get into team fights once your ultimates were up if the other team wasn't already way ahead in items. At this point, Team Astropoke actually has to catch Quantic in an overextension or a tower dive in order to take something back.
And they're playing flawlessly right now, and absolutely 6-0, no kills, no turrets down for them. 12 going in, or 12 minutes here going in. High putting some pressure onto Anxiety. Nobody's there, but they're going to 1v1 on this again, and it looks like Anxiety taking quite a bit of damage there. Balls comes in on the side, he misses the taunt, but the Void Spike is more than enough damage to take it down. Does he have the final spark damage? But it's going to be the cleanup here coming in from Remstars. They need these kills. They need to start racking up that money. And Newbert definitely needs to get that damage under his belt.
So that definitely helps. They got shut down gold on Kha'Zix when that dive happened in a 1-for-1. So that was the catching a team and dive that they needed to start happening. They just have to do that 6 or 7 more times if they actually want to get back in this one.
It really is just hard to think about it when it comes down to minutes. We need to do things for the next 5 or 6 minutes before we get to where we want, but that is the patience that Team Astropoke is playing with right now, and that is the patience that Quantic is pressuring, and they're doing it very well, only allowing 1 kill to their team in 13 minutes, and they are still pressuring here. Remstars may not have seen that ward go in. He was just to the right of that, and it looks like he is going to get attacked on this Jack. Coming in Elimination just on the outside. Remstars didn't really realize it at first, and they take him out. Red buff going over to Meteos.
And this fight may continue, probably not. There were 3 members of Team Astropoke that wanted to go in there. That was a really good steal by Meteos. He actually timed his Elastic Slingshot bounce, which does 280 damage with his smite, and just spiked it out before Remstars could get it. Then Lemon Nation came in for the crescendo, and they picked up the killing.
Nidus Remain going down to half HP from that power cord. They take down a turret and start using that Jace Gate to get some movement speed in these engagements, and they know they can win the fights just easily right now. They have to figure out a way to just take down Team Astropoke and the next turrets, but Team Astropoke is really on the defensive. They don't have much siege clear coming out from their team because Lux doesn't have the damage yet, so they're kind of just, these waves are allowing a lot of poke to the turrets for Quantic.
And it's an extra difficulty that Newbert had to play Lux against a AD in the mid lane.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times Lux wants to go with total glass cannon, which would be a Tear the Goddess into either a Morellonomicon or a Death Cap, but he's had to go for that Seeker's Arm Guard very early on because otherwise he just gets eaten by High's Kha'Zix, and it just shuts down the wave clear a little bit longer and would require Team Astropoke to be able to stall, which they haven't been able to at this point.
Quantic keeping their aggression all over the map now, keeping the wards up as well. There is Astropoke making a light bright security system for themselves, trying to get some damage down and steal the dragon, but it just still wasn't enough damage yet. He wants that auto attack so bad, you can see it in his eyes.
And you could see how much they just stopped doing the dragon because they knew Newbert was going to try to steal with that Lux. They're not giving them opportunities to pick up free gold there. Meteos was very patient, waiting until after all the spike landed to get his smite off, and now there's a 5-man push trying to go. This is their opportunity.
They're going in hard onto Jace. They try to push him out, but they have only balls under the turret. He is quite tanky right now. Not something they can afford to do. 2 have gone down. Sneaky Castro almost make it out alive, but he gets the kill for it anyways. The blue buff goes to the crowd.
So 3 for 1 and maybe more because High might want to go in there for Newbert.
He is actually happening for Newbert. High, taking a bit of damage himself. He doesn't want to give that blue buff up. It's going to be Meteos hopping over the wall. No, he holds tight on that one. Looks like they make it out.
So a very aggressive dive overall by Team Astral Poke, and it didn't give them too much. They did get a shutdown on Sneaky Castro's 2 Jace kills, but overall they gave 3 kills back, and that's actually a detriment to them. I applaud them on trying to make a play because you really have to do something when you're losing this badly, but once again, it was a little too much for them to handle.
So at 16 minutes, yes, a second kill is found onto Sneaky Castro. It's not really going to prove too much for them. It's not creating core items. 2 of those Lizard Elders being picked up, or the Elder Lizard, I should say, being picked up by Hecarim and Ezreal. So we'll see if that damage can burn true through some of Quantic, but I don't believe it's going to be enough. The too little too late syndrome right now here. Quantic trying to find their way into the base of Team Astral Poke and into the LCS.
And this is one of those examples of the blue Ezreal build not necessarily working. It works when you're ahead. You can keep your distance, but you need to be able to get like a couple items to make it work. You need your Spirit of the Elder Lizard, you need your Iceborne Gauntlets, and you need your Manamune, and he's just not had the gold due to all the shutdown the Quantic's been putting on them to make that happen.
Little aggression here. He's trying to pull him in the bait for Bobby Hank Hill to come, but there's just not enough space. The gap closer isn't there. Balls plays that one to his advantage. Can he get a few more attacks on? He gets the speed from Lulu. The arcane shift may be there. Bobby could be tunneling in onto this one, and Meteos is going to find him. Now he doesn't have the escape. He may have to flash, but he is going to be safe on the walk away. Very close.
That was a thought to go over that wall. He's like, maybe I should go over this. There's a giant Zac. I'm going to walk this way now. And he just decided not to follow through on that one. Probably a smart move.
See in the bottom lane, there is a bit of pressure coming on, but it's the jump in, the Zac attack in mid onto Remstars. He throws out the extra horses from the corral, but it's not enough damage. Anxiety trying to get the damage down. Meteos on this one. Anxiety always taking it so low, but he can't finalize the kill. Meteos going man mode, taking damage from Ezreal, but it's not going to be enough. They're just too tanky. A wild growth on Nidus Remain himself, and it looks like Lemon Nation says, I got shields too. Here comes balls from the top lane, and they're going to be able to taunt in. Nidus Remain goes down. A kill coming in for Sneaky Castro. They start pushing the base hard, Jat.
And they're just going to continue killing Bobby Hank Hill. That's a 4 for 0. Quantic now 15 kills to 2, and this is just great for Quantic, not good for Team Astral Poke, because that's a probably 18-minute inhibitor as Nubert desperately tries to defend.
Nubert and Remstars back up. Remstars just died, and he's back up. You can see how early these guys are getting taken down in full team fights. The laning phase was thwarted completely early in this game. No kills coming from the final spark there. Still looking to finalize a core item onto Lux here, and we're almost 18 minutes into the game. There's a few people looking to finalize a core item, rather.
Yeah, 13,000 gold, and the core items are being more than finalized on Quantic. It's the Golem Soul and the Aegis of the Legion already on Meteos, which is huge for them. Last Whisper completed on high. I mean, Sneaky Castro is going to be getting his Myrrh Mana transformation very soon. He's at 732 of his 750 mana required to get that added punch on Jace, as well as being able to pick up a Bloodthirster just with that last back. So this next push is probably going to move Quantic to the next round, because you look at the CS numbers, you look at the gold, you look at the way the team fights have been going, everything points for Quantic.
You see Remstars in that top lane pushing as far as he can out. He has to be careful though. He doesn't have wards behind him. Really deterring any pressure off the base, and he's kind of leading everybody away. May see him get a ward up here onto the Baron, and yeah, he's going to kick on that hyperdrive. Doesn't get the slow there, so he may be able to get out of this one, and it looks like he is safe. They have a good amount of wards to kind of tell what's going to happen afterwards as well.
And Quantic will be able to do kind of whatever they want after this one, because Remstars, even though he did get the wards down, isn't going to stop Quantic from moving anywhere they want. Sneaky Castro can duel Bobby Hank Hill extremely easily in this situation. They could even do a 4-man Baron if they really wanted to, but at this point, Quantic is not going to take any risks because they're winning by so much right now.
See what they're going for. That bulwark has been finished, hurting Lux even more. That damage is not going to be able to get through, and they can't get the AoE that they really need in these fights right now. See him pressuring. Here comes Remstars from the left side. They get the slowdown, and Sneaky Castro fear him backwards. He has the double buff. This would be very nice for them to get, but it's Meteos coming in. It's going to be that Zac attack as he bounces it out, and it's going to be a kill on Unstoppable. He is unstoppable, I should say. Double kill for him. Nidus Remain down. Remstars is down. We see Sneaky Castro picking up a kill as well. Nubert is in the eyes of the entire team. They say turrets? What turrets? We don't see any turrets. Boom! Lemon Nation coming up with a power chord kill. Everybody likes a little bit of hard rock and roll sometimes. 20 minutes into the game, the inhibitor falls. The base looks to be Quantic's.
4-0 for Quantic. You could see that Team Astral Poke wanted to catch someone out of position, but Quantic just made it into position, and now they're going for the Nexus turrets.
There it is. Anxiety Lowell putting it all on the line. His heart on the field in the Summoner's Rift, but it's going to be Quantic moving through. They're going to be facing off against Complexity.
So another 20-minute victory here for Quantic. If they can get this Nexus down, it's actually a bit of a last stand for Team Astro Poke.
They are going the next.